All right, everybody, Dr. Brett here. I'm going to go through something today that a lot of you have probably actually had a lot of experience with. I mean, we'll actually look at the statistics on here. It's crazy how many people deal with it, but what we're going to talk about is headaches and how common headaches are, where they come from, and most importantly, what are solutions that you can then do yourself, as well as reach out and find help for to minimize the effects of headaches and even the consistency of this over a period of time. Because when gets down to it, they're not something that you should have. They're something that should be avoided or can be avoided based on the choices that you make. So going into it, 47%. This is the amount of Americans who have a headache in this year. This next 12 months, 40%. Basically, 1 out of 2 people has headaches, at least 1 a year with regards to that. Only 16% of people who have headaches have migraines. A lot of people come in and they're like, I have migraines twice a week. A typical migraine is going to put you on the floor. I mean, aversion to light, to sound, to any outside external stimuli that jars your senses, basically very strong aversion to it with a typical migraine. A lot of people will have like auras. In other words, they'll see spots or floaters that will come across in their vision. They'll get nausea with it. Many people get sick from it. Versus a typical like tension type headache, which we'll talk about, that could get really bad. I mean, they can make you sick to your stomach as well too, but a classic migraine has a lot of nausea to it, has a lot of secondary physiological responses that make them very, very, very distinct in terms of where they're at. I mean, a classic migraine, you can't function at all. You need to go home in a dark room, shut it down for at least a day, sometimes even more with something like that. What I want to make you understand or get you to understand is that the same causes to a migraine can be there for a tension headache as well too. So it really depends on the individual how they adapt to it. But 60% of migraines, females are also more prone to headaches, which we'll kind of get into that with this as well too. But leading into that, what causes headaches? So one big thing is hydration. Most people do not hydrate well enough. They drink maybe 48 ounces of water a day, which the quote-unquote government guidelines are 8 ounce glasses of water a day, which is 64 ounces. My rule of thumb is drink your body weight in ounces, at least. So if you weigh 150 pounds, have 150 ounces of water a day. It sounds like a lot, and yeah, you will be at the bathroom a little bit more maybe than you're used to, but it's the natural cleansing of your body, and all the chemical processes that take place in your body are based on water. If you don't have that in there, you don't, like I said, sooner or later you're going to have a symptom. And a lot of times a headache is a symptom of lack of hydration. It's your body's defense mechanism for what's going on. So hydration is a big one. Sleep and rest. Most Americans, I think they say 75% of Americans have a diagnosable sleep disorder, which simply means is that either they don't fall asleep very well or they don't stay asleep. Start checking your surroundings, which we'll talk about. Hormonal stuff. This feeds back up in the women piece up here in terms of prevalence of headaches. And bottom line is if your hormones are off, there's a lot of the physiology that gets bad, and a lot of headaches come stemming from that as well too. Toxicity, which can kind of go along with hormonal, but toxicity, medications, withdrawal symptoms from stuff like that. Caffeine in high doses or consistent doses can be a toxin as well too. Stress is a toxin. I don't care what you think. Stress is probably one of the biggest toxins we face right now in our society, so that's a big one. Last one is structural. This is probably more along the lines of a classic tension type headache with people. It's a structural based type of problem based on ergonomics, based on deformities or changes that have happened either from birth or through a course of time, which we'll talk more about as well too. But they involve your bones, your nerves, and your muscles. Plain and simple with that. So moving now into solutions. And I want to keep this simple and fairly brief, but what are solutions you can do to battle some of this stuff that's up here? Solutions are very simple. Be conscious. In other words, understand and know what's going on. What's your body telling you? If you're getting headaches, it's not a deficiency of ibuprofen. You need to take more ibuprofen. Your body's telling you there's a problem. And it's no different than the oil light going off in there. So start being conscious of the decisions you make, what you eat, where you sleep, what you do, your stress levels, things like that. Pretty much everything we're going to talk about here. So that's the first thing. And if you need to, start journaling. Write down when you get your headaches and start looking at the trends and write down meals that you have, sleep patterns that you have, stressors that you have, all that kind of stuff. Exercise. Hydration, like we said, body weight, ounces. In other words, 150 pounds, 150 ounces a day. Good rule of thumb. If you even get half of that, you're probably doing pretty good. But let's shoot for the full kit and caboodle even at that point. Sleep. The big thing with sleep is consistency. It means if you go to bed at 10 o'clock Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday probably shouldn't be 2 o'clock in the morning. If you do, you're going to have problems because your body never gets in that cycle. Therefore, you never end up normalizing your levels of sleep, let alone the processes that take place because of your sleep amounts. The next one on here, nutrition and toxins. This can be, I group this in here, but toxins like dairy products, gluten, caffeine, additives, medications, things like that that are toxic to the physiology of your body. If you put bad stuff in, you're going to have a bad chemistry experiment going on in your body. Plain and simple. What you put in is what you get out of it as well too. The nutrition piece as well too. Eat what grows from the ground and walks on the ground. It's a good rule of thumb. The key is with it is just be consistent with it. Consistency is key when talking about nutrition. Same thing with sleep, like we talked about. Minimizing stress. This is a big one, and I see it with people that come in our office all the time, is that stress levels, they're so tied to people's day and the things that happen to you all the time, the external stimulation that happens to you. My key is this, is what do you do to minimize the fluctuations of stress in your life? In other words, do you like to read? Do you exercise? To me, exercise is so therapeutic for me, it's like a counseling session by myself at the gym or out running or out doing whatever, biking. The key is like, what is it for you that does it? Is it hanging out with friends? Is it going out to eat? Are you scheduling things to minimize the stress in your life as well? As two, how do you deal with the stress that happens? It's going to happen to all of us. I don't care who you are, what you do, everyone's going to have stress. People are like, I'm stressed out. I'm like, my first question is, one, what is it? As well as two, what are you doing about it? Because that's what you have control over. Don't worry about things you can't control, but worry about how you react to those things that then happen to you. So minimizing stress and the effects of it. Find out what it is that brings you down an octave. If you're constantly running at 8,000 RPMs, what brings you down to 3,000 RPMs? Whatever that is, schedule it. Keep it consistent as well too. Structure, right back to what we talked about there in the beginning. Structure is a big one again on this, and the fact that we as chiropractors or massage therapists and in the, I call the musculoskeletal realm of things, the key is this: if your structure does not work with you, it's working against you. And if that happens, again, the oil light. What's the oil light in this situation? It's the headache. It's the symptom that comes on there. Symptoms progress, they get worse, they get more intense, and as time goes on, it starts to affect your life. Your body's trying to tell you something. If you don't listen to it the first time, it's going to keep getting louder and louder and louder and louder. So the key is with this. For example, with the muscles and soft tissue, massage is great. It takes the tension out. It helps break up some of the adhesions that go in there that happen from sitting at a desk like this all the time. This probably looks familiar to a lot of you looking at your coworkers. Well, guess what? It's you too. So, like I said, posture is a big thing that happens. The ergonomics that take place with that. How you walk, how you sit, how you move, all that kind of stuff. We look at you from a structural standpoint, from a posture. If your structure's off, stress on your body, stress on your structure at that point. So the massage piece helps break up the adhesions. The chiropractic piece regains movement to your spine and the surrounding tissues. When you regain the movement, your nerves can function more normally. You take the stress off the neurologic system. And you think about it, what controls your body? Your nervous system does. So if your structure, your spinal structure is causing stress to that nervous system, is that a problem for your body? Yes, it is. If there's a problem that big for your body, guess what it's going to do? It's going to tell you about it. That's why headaches, to me, the symptom of your structure being off, a big symptom, especially your neck being off, is such an important and very significant, severe type of symptom to have. People brush it off as, well, you know what, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. You're stressing your neurologic system, which runs your body. Do something about it. Address your structure. That's why chiropractic is not well, when it hurts, I'm going to go fix it type of thing. It's a necessity that happens with it. That's why massage is not a luxury. It's a necessity that happens with it. That's why doing your daily spinal hygiene, structural hygiene at home, your range of motion, your strengthening, your stretching, is a necessity that happens with it. Or sooner or later you end up in that spot where your body tells you have to do something about it. Migraines. Why do they shut people down? Because you know what? The problem's got severe enough to the point where your body does not want to do more damage to it, so it shuts you down. The body's always intelligent with it. So, hope you understand that. The last thing I want to throw in here is this, is NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Your ibuprofen, your leaves, things like that, your Motrins, all that kind of stuff that's out there that is designed to take pain away, basically. In other words, we're going to put something over that oil light. We're going to cut the wire to that oil light to shut the symptom down. Here's what I want you to understand. This comes out of the New England Journal of Medicine, 1999. Every year, 107,000 hospitalizations from the use of NSAIDs on there. 16,500 people die every single year from using NSAIDs, ibuprofen, over-the-counter drugs. They're not harmless. They have side effects to them as well too. So my point is this: if your solution to this is this, are you going to end up with a very good result? No, you may get rid of the symptom. You're not fixing the problem. What I want you to focus on is this up here. And you know what? Honestly, start being conscious. Understand that type of stuff. Water's an easy thing to change. Sleep patterns, it may take some time, but you can implement that. Nutrition, pay attention. Journal this stuff. Log that stuff. Minimizing your stress. Start walking. Go out and walk for a while. That's a great way to do it. Read a book. Structure. Go see a chiropractor. Get into a massage therapist. Make it part of your routine. All I'm saying is that really, honestly, 1 out of 2 Americans suffering from headaches, in my opinion, is a complete acceptable thing when you look at what you can do to help that out, let alone the amount of people with migraines. So hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully it fires you up a little bit to take better care of yourself as well too. If this is something that applies to somebody else in your life, send this video to them. Do them a favor. Get them to understand there's something they can do to help themselves out. So hope you guys liked it. Thanks.